I'll let that burn down 15 or 20 minutes and then I'll stir the embers, and then when I feel it's safe I'll probably hit the hay. Good morning, it's now 10 to 7 and you can see it's firstly light already, and there's bird song everywhere in the trees. I heard a lot of it last night. I wasn't aware of it yesterday afternoon, but it came to life last night, and lots of wildlife, I think, rusting through the bushes and the trees. The guy from the barge walked by a couple of times with his head torch because he was fishing down there, and so we had a little chat each time we went by. And then later on, one of the people from the barge, either him or the other guy, I heard this banging like against metal, and I saw a bright light, so I just quickly unzipped the tent, and he was chopping some wood on that bench over there. I could see what he was doing. He was getting the axe, splitting logs in half. The wood burner, I'm not lighting it this morning. For one reason, there's no need, it's not cold, and secondly, I burnt off most of the wood last night. I decided I'd just burn it off. I bought a Transurate just to heat some water up this morning for a quick wash and a cup of coffees. There just seemed no need to light the stove this morning, so I don't have to wait for that to cool down before I can pack it away, so all the ashes should be easy to scatter this morning. I've got some cereal, I've a couple of cups of coffee, got plenty of water left. I slept alright last night. A couple of times I woke up, just the animal noise, and just, you know, I heard voices of people. I think they were walking back from the pub actually, because people go to the Bird in Hand and walk back that way, or possibly people walking along the riverbank up through here, but I think it's more likely up there. Hard to tell at night in the dark. And I had to get up about 3:30 this morning. I know that because I turned my phone on and had a look at the time, and I just came out here in flip-flops. I didn't even have to get into tracksuit bottoms. I was just in underpants and a t-shirt, and it wasn't cold. It really was not cold. It's not like I was shivering and had to get back inside. That's how mild it's been. When I first bought this tent, the very first time I went hot tent camping, you attach the stove jack there to this hole. So there's like a opening there, and you can roll back part of the tent, the flap, and band it up. Or you can use the tent conventionally, and that Velcro sticks down to Velcro corresponding its shape along there. But it comes with this stove jack, which is basically a heat-proof material for the pipe to come through, and it Velcros on. But that is quite a unique size for this tent. You cannot buy them. I've tried replacements. They all come in this size. I cut the hole to the size after a bit of research. Some people said you need to cut a circular hole big enough for the pipe to get through and a bit of excess. And other people said no, you just need to cut across and let the pipe come up through so the material clings to it. So I cut the bigger hole, and it used to sway about a bit, but also when it snowed it let a bit of snow in, and so I realised I should have done the cross probably. I think opinions are mixed on this, so I've just bought a second one. You can sort of see it doesn't attach anywhere. I just put it down through the flue, and that holds it in place quite nicely, and it covers the hole there. So that's the reason I've got two stove jacks. Again, that's just inexperience. And it comes with these air vents. Lots of tents have them, don't they? Again, that stiffened material Velcros on there, and there's like a little arm inside which detaches, so you can fold the tent down when you pack it, and then open this up when you erect the tent. And there's a corresponding one on the back, so I have both vents open. And last night, when I really cranked that fire up, I literally had to sit in there 10:30 last night in underpants and a t-shirt with the door open. That's how much heat it was pumping out. As I said, it's an absolute game changer for winter camping, these tents. And that thing at the top, the fluted cap, that's what they call a spark arrestor. I think the idea is that any sparks that come up will hit that and drop back down, but it will allow the smoke to drift out. As you can see, there's lots of little shiny patches on the tent. That's tent repair. That's where embers have drifted back down and burnt small little holes in the tent. I was just doing a look this morning. Now it's daylight. You can spot the holes straight away because you can just see daylight coming through. I don't think there's any new ones. I'm told what causes lots of embers and sparks to go up there is poking the fire too much. So I've learnt just to be really careful when you put logs in. Try not to disturb things too much. You have to a certain amount, but that's really cut down on the damage. And those shiny parts, that's actually special tent repair. It's like very, very strong sellotape. So a bit on the outside, corresponding bit on the inside, and I've sealed the holes. I thought that was a hole at first, but it's just a little insect. Anyway, I'm going to go in, start getting some hot water on and have a coffee. Because the stove now is completely cold overnight, hadn't had a fire in that for about 8 hours now, I'm just using the flat surface as my Trangia base. The flames bloomed up a bit now, and so I've got some hot water on for some coffees. I've got some cereal that I bought from Bath, as well as some orange squash mix to make. My wife bought me one of these lighters from our local hardware shop. They're only a couple of pounds, and you can refill them. We've got the gas refill cartridge, and they're just extended lighters, and they're so handy because we have lots of tea lights in our kitchen in the winter just to brighten the place up. We turn the lights off and have the tea lights on, and we've got outside fairy lights as well. And lighting the candles and extinguishing them with matches or with a conventional lighter can be a bit tricky. And I said, hey ho, this would probably be good for camping as well. So I just happened to mention it. Next thing I knew, she went up the shop, said, here's one for you. They're brilliant. Again this morning, just lighting the Trangia, that's so easy because you can't always tell if the flame's taking because it's spirit rather than petrol or gas. So sometimes it takes a while for the flame to bloom up. So that's absolutely fantastic. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Boydmouth, my chosen spot for my first hot tent camp of the year. This is not designated as Boydmouth on any map you'll find. It's just something I've come up with. So the River Boyd, which we're standing over, rises at Doddington in South Gloucestershire, about 7 miles yonder. It's on the very southern slopes of the Cotswold Escarpment, and it flows down most of the way. It's not much more than a brook or a stream, and this is its confluence as it flows into the River Avon, Bath that way, into Bristol that way, hence Boydmouth. It's become a favourite spot. Just bought a cup of coffee down here to chill out and enjoy the moment. And there's my tent in that grassy picnic area over there. Just about to make it out. And the bike's passed with flying colours on its first test. Fingers crossed, as John Lennon would say, it passed its audition. It's the replacement for my stolen Caribou that I had nicked on the train coming back from my summer cycle tour. And I've modified it now to how I want it: mudguards, rack, better tyres on it, etc. I've just come down here to enjoy a cup of coffee. Then I'll head back, put the kettle on for a third cup of coffee, then I'll start packing up. I haven't lit the stove this morning. There's no need for it whatsoever. It's not cold, and also it doesn't cost me time, waiting for all the embers to cool down before I can fold it up and then scatter them. So another half an hour or so here, then I'll be heading back over there, starting to pack up, heading home. Just as I'm starting to think about packing up, I can hear a steam engine coming by. So up there is the embankment of the old Midland Railway between Bristol and Bath. And up to that bridge, just slightly beyond it, is Still Railway, which shares the embankment with the cycle path. It's going behind, just behind those trees. And then it'll stop at that little platform over there. The engine will go up, turn round, attached to the other end of the train, and then haul it back towards Bitton and beyond. So I can just hear it stopped about there. In fact, I don't think that's a passenger train. It sounds like a maintenance train possibly, because they were doing lots of work up there yesterday. I heard like a diesel locomotive along there. Oh, it's pulling away, look. I'm not sure if that's passengers or possibly a maintenance train. It's a lovely sound though, first thing, isn't it? Oh, there it is. It is a passenger train. Yeah, there's carriages, look. Oh, the train's taking it down. No, it's just one carriage. I think that may be a maintenance train actually, because it's reversed down. I'm now in the inner part of my tent, packing up. I've already folded up my sleeping bag, put it in its compression sack and pulled it down tight, compressed it. This is my Exped sleep mat. I've just opened the deflation valve, so that's the inflation. There's a two-way rubber valve in there. Lets air in, doesn't let it out. Here's the pump I use for inflating my sleep mats, but it also deflates them well. So that's the little adapter. It comes with several, but this is one dedicated for this sleep mat. It's the Exped Synmat 7. So last night I put it in there, so it sucks in air in there, blows it out to there. So that's what I used to inflate it last night. And then I just reverse the process now. It'll suck the air out of the sleep mat now and expel it out to there. So as long as you put it there and make sure that's got plenty of clearance. I've got most of the air out, but rather than wrestle it all out, why bother when this will do it for you? That'll gradually take all the air out now, shrink wrap it, which it'll make it, that will make it much easier to roll up and fold. I can actually feel the air being blown onto my hands. Still feel it about there. And there it is. That makes folding it and rolling it up so easy. That should slide in its stuff sack quite easily. You can see the stuff sack's seen better days. Had to strengthen that at the bottom. That really makes folding and rolling the sleep mat up so much easier. So I've got my German Army ground sheet down as a kind of insulation layer, and also to protect the sleep mat. Really what I should have done is put it underneath this in a tent. To be honest, it's my fault, I didn't think of it in time, but that's what I would normally do. This is fairly substantial and bulletproof, excuse the expression. The Heritage Railway, doing a lot of engineering work by the look of it up on that bridge. Trains have been up and down all morning. I don't think they're passenger trains, they're work trains. There it's going by. So this section of the Bath to Bristol cycle path actually shares it alongside a single track of the Heritage Railway. There's still another train down there with a carriage. I guess that's personnel down there. There's my new touring bike then, leant up against a tree. I've had it now since about early August. So it's a replacement for my old Caribou steel bike, which I'd had for about 20-25 years, which was unfortunately stolen on a train coming back from my cycle tour in June. I was upset at the time, but I've moved on, I've got over it now, but I knew I needed a replacement. And originally I was thinking I might replace it with as close as I could get, a like-for-like steel bike. And then I started coming across this. It's a giant Tough Road SLR2. And I thought it may suit my needs. I'll explain. There's two in the range, the SLR1, which originally I was going to go for, and the SLR2. In effect, they're the same bike, but with slight differences. So the SLR1 is blue, and it came with a rear rack and a front rack. No mudguards. Neither bike has mudguards, but it's got all the fittings for them, the threaded holes. When I went to the showroom, and they were really helpful, the giant showroom, gave me some advice. One thing I didn't like about the SLR1 is it didn't have 4-point fitting rack, although it's got the braze-ons for them. It just had a 3-point fitting, so instead of these two struts down onto the chain stays, it just had a central strut down there which bolts on to a hole behind that crossbar. In fact, that's where the mudguard's attached to. And that's the only reason I didn't go for the SLR1. Otherwise, it's the same bike, just different colour. So I knew I could modify it myself. So I've put on a really substantial 4-point fitting rear rack. It's the Altura Tortec. And I got a hold of the giant dedicated rack for these bikes actually. That's what the SLR1 would have come with. I've put on my own full length mudguards. Again, it didn't come supplied with them, but it came with pre-drilled threaded holes for them. So I've got full length mudguards on now, and it comes with a fairly rubbish saddle and pedals. I think their thinking is, you're going to change it anyway, why bother putting anything half decent on? So I've put on my Brooks B17 leather saddle. That's what I've got on all my bikes. Any cyclotourist or long distance cyclist would tell you it's so comfortable. It's like sitting in an armchair all day. It's just a no-brainer for me. And I've put on my chosen clipless pedals. It came with fairly knobbly wide tyres because it's marketed as a gravel bike. And they were great fun taking it off-road during the summer, but they didn't have a great reputation for puncture resistance, so I knew come the autumn I was going to change them. And I've gone over to my preferred choice of touring tyre, Schwalbe Marathons. Nothing's ever going to be 100% puncture resistant, but that's probably about as close as you're going to get on a touring bike. They're fairly tough wearing, they grip quite well, and they seem to last quite a long time. So I've got it modified to my requirements. And last night, really, although I didn't need the wood burner because it never got cold, I just wanted to bring it out and just test the bike really to see if it's going to fit my needs. And as I said, it's passed the audition. There's another train going by. I'm just kicking down the grass from the flat spot where I've been. I try and get it up as much as possible. That'll recover within a few days. You'll never know I've been here. Well, it's a lovely sound, that steam coming up. Everything's so much lighter this morning because obviously I've got rid of all the food, the water I bought out, apart from what's in the bottles. So I bought out the water cell with 4 litres in. I bought out 750ml in the front bottle of orange squash. Got some of that left, although I did top it up overnight, and I had 750ml of water in the back bottle. Again, I've used some of that. I've just topped it up with what was left from the water cell. I guess I probably poured away about half a litre, so that gives you an idea. 4 litres, 4.5, so ideal for overnight. You can wash, cook, do your ablutions and everything. Give yourself and your pots and pans a really good wash, not worry about running out of water. Bagged up all my rubbish. Normally I'd bungee that to the back of my pannier rack, but I know actually there's a rubbish bin just as we get back up on the track, so I can dispose of that there. It's been a fantastic wild camp. Just checked all the pannier racks, they all seem to be quite nicely snug on. As I say, I'm a little bit wary of putting too much weight on the front. Now I know they're carbon composite forks, but we'll see. Worst comes to worst, they suggested it in Cadence the other day, could always put one of those Swiss roll type bags on the front. I don't really want to have to do that. I want to stick to traditional panniers, but if I have to, I will. So, ready to roll. Okay, at long last, I'm heading off. Just had a nice long chat with my wife. It sounds like I had a quieter night than her last night. She said there was fireworks going off till about 1 o'clock in the morning, and she thought one of them had hit our bedroom window. I think it's just a blast wave, but a lot of noise around. I heard a lot of fireworks here actually. They were going off in Saltford, Keynsham, Bitton maybe, but they died down around about midnight. I slept really well actually, so I think I've had a better night's sleep than she did down there. Anyway, I'm heading off home now. Hope if you've got this far, hope you've enjoyed coming along, and I'll see you soon.